case that is involved about, I think the amount is about 6.9 billion fraud, demonstrating that, of course, demonstrating that significant allegations persist regardless of past, achievements. Ayodeles Fayoshe's case is quite peculiar. So what I've noticed when it comes to governors and prosecution, which I would have really loved to ask our guest, how is it possible that immediately they end their tenure, the next thing they do, they try to, if they are not in the ruling party, they try to quickly jump ship to, the ruling party. Is that a sign that the ruling party somewhat gives some level of immunity to this impunity? Is that a sign? I don't know. All right, so public perception and the impact on governance. So public trust. Now, a significant portion of the Nigerian populace, about 72% to be precise, believe that all public officials should be held accountable for corruption, irrespective of their achievements. This sentiment is crucial for fostering trust in governance. I don't think this figure is right, 72%. I think it's a wrong figure. And I'll say why. Because, we had a conversation yesterday, I think, or was it yesterday or Monday? I can't remember, where somebody was saying that when it comes to corruption, right, as long as the person in that act, is close to home, we redefine it, right? Nigerians, I don't even think even, this is me being honest, right? If there's a case that was involved, that involves somebody that is very dear to my heart, I think there's somewhere at the back of my mind that I want to make an excuse to believe that that person is innocent, right? So if we really want to solve this issue around impunity, around embezzlement, around corrupt practices amongst our top government officials, right, especially people in executive positions like state governors, presidents, and whatnot, of course we understand that they have those immunity at the point where they are in service. When they step out of service, we can create a system where even whether this person is close to home, whether the person is our person or the person is not our person, we are able to tell them the truth. But I don't know how we can do that. I don't know how I can openly tell someone that I care about or somebody that is close to home and in a position of power to say, no, this one, you're not doing well. I don't know if it's possible. I've learned to say never, because you don't know anything. You don't know what you are capable of doing until pressure is applied, right? Someone gave an illustration that, a container is locked. The more you apply pressure, you then understand what is inside the content of that container. That is how it works, even with human interaction. If somebody, let's say my child tomorrow becomes the president of the country, and he's running the government and all of those things, and I'm beginning to see some things, and I'm probably particularly not, which I forbid, because I'm trying to raise them to be upright and do the things right. But let us just play that scenario that it's your child or your spouse or somebody that's close to your brother, your sibling, that is in that position of power, and all of a sudden something has changed. Something is, because the power becomes intoxicating, and this person starts to act, in some very, very, very shroudy manner. Are we able to look that person in the eye and tell that person the truth? Say, I speak truth to power. Is it possible? Or we start to make excuses because we are all guilty in these corrupt practices. The fact that Nigeria has lasted this long and we're still having the same issues that our grandparents had, right? Around corrupt practices, around corrupt leaders, around bad governance, around underdevelopment and all of those things. It tells me one thing, that we are all part of the system and we're all part of the people corrupting the system. Because for as long as we continue to remain silent, there is never going to be a change. There was something I thought it was worthy of mention. I was going to say that, someone had said that, let me read him. Is the former Commonwealth Secretary General, Chief Emeka Anyoku. He had warned that if Nigeria refused to do away with the 1999 Constitution, it will be hard for anyone to fix this country. And that's the truth. So if we really want to save our country, if we really want to change our country, then we must be intentional about speaking truth to power and shining the spotlight or the torchlight where it really matters. The corruption that we're seeing, the stealing of the money, all those things are symptoms. There is a root cause why people steal in this country. There is a root cause why people do things anyhow in this country. So if we really want to solve the problem of Nigeria, we must go back to that root and we must go there and uproot the problem. If we do not do that, Nigeria cannot change. We are just wasting our time. I am here. I will talk Monday to Friday, right? January to December. It is still going to be the same thing. Nothing will change. Why? Because we are leaving the root cause of the problem and we are focusing on the branches. We're focusing on the leaves. Nothing is going to change, right? So he says, he then went on further to say that to those who think that the trouble with Nigeria today is political leadership, I would say that as long as we have the 1999 Constitution as our ground norm, not even Angel Gabriel or Malaika Jibril as leader can successfully tackle the divisiveness, the underperforming economy with the resultant poverty, the insecurity, the humongous corruption, and the other major challenges the country is currently facing. That is our reality, right? So when you see a governor embezzling money or taking public funds and putting it aside for their personal gains and all of that, the man knows nobody is going to touch him. The man knows he knows how to find a way around the system that nothing is going to happen. Were there no allegations around, the current Senate President, Godswill Akpabio? But where is he today? He's your Senate President. So for as long as these people know that there is a structure, there's a loophole where they can go and then bring, what's it called? What's the word now? Bypass the system and continue to rob the system dry, they will take advantage of that. We are all humans. I don't know if I'm put in a position tomorrow and I'm seeing billions on naira and I know that if I take it, you understand, nothing will happen to me. I don't know. Like I said, until pressure is applied, maybe I have one pressing bill I need to pay and I'm seeing this money. Nobody is coming to ask me for it. Nobody's, only God knows what will happen when the pressure is applied, because it is very quick for us to point fingers to say these are the things that are happening. But really, when push comes to shove, what would you do, right? So I'll continue the write-up. I'll continue the write-up. So it says, we talked about public trust. Now, contributions to the society. Some argue that significant contributions made by former governors should be weighed. You see, we don't fine tune them, we don't quantify them. So contributions to society. Some have argued that significant contributions made by former governors should be weighed against allegations of misconduct. For example, achievements in education, health reforms can be seen as mitigating factors when considering prosecution. So in other words, if the governor, at least this one do now, it not be like other people no just do it. Tomona leave am for us, now our son. Right? We'll take a break. When we come back from that break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future.
Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you're just tuned in, we're having a conversation, right? And we want to discuss whether we should start to give ex-governors, ex-officials, in fact, in general, give them some level of concession, since, I mean, especially for those that were the performing ones, the people that worked. Should we say that that is a criteria for them not to be prosecuted or questioned after they leave office? That's the conversation. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone line is now open. No? 07025007749. That's the numbers. 07014242420. Those are the numbers to call. Please, when you do call, turn off the volume of whatever device it is that you're watching us from. Do you believe that if a governor performed, right? So let's give an example that I believe that people would agree performed. Peter Obi, for instance. Do you believe that somebody like a Peter Obi should be invited by the EFCC, should be asked questions, should be probed, to ask, okay, how did you spend your 8 years in office? Somebody like Ifashola, how did you spend your 8 years in office? Do you understand? Should we start to intentionally bring Sheyi Makinde here is working as well in Oyo State? Should we also invite them? All the past governors, you've served 8 years, you've done your 8-year tenure. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a chat. How did you, of course, how did you manage the state resources? Or should we just say no? The ones that perform, let us just leave them, because that's the argument that people are arguing based on Okowa's arrest. Of course, he has been released. Let me mention it again, but his passport was seized, right? All right. So let me continue my write-up, because I took out my time since I was going to be alone in the studio. So we have talked about the contributions to society. So some have argued that significant contributions that are made by former governors should be weighed against the allegations. So, I mean, if your contributions outweighs the allegations, it can be brushed aside, right? That's what some people have argued. Do you agree with that? Then the risk of selective justice. There are concerns that prosecuting based on political motivations. Now, this is where I believe I want to, I agree to some extent, right? Political motivations rather than solid evidence can lead to selective justice. Cases like that of the former governor, Peter Odili, of course, people have argued that it illustrates how legal proceedings can be stalled or influenced by other factors, including political connections. As I said earlier, the pattern that I have seen, if a governor knows that they might be prosecuted after leaving office, and of course they no longer have that immunity that they have, what they eventually do is that they just quickly jump ship to the ruling party. So that gives them some level of coverage, right? That gives them some level of what's the word? It gives them some level of immunity again, right? Because now they are now under the umbrella of the ruling party. And this is what I see most times, right? The selection of the people that EFCC always invites or calls, they're usually opposition parties. Why can't we have, for instance, okay, we all read that EFCC would invite Governor Sanwo-Olu. So let us watch it. Let's watch how that would span out after his tenure ends, right? Because he's APC, and of course the present federal government structure is being ruled by the APC as well. So let us see how that dynamics will work, right? If it's going to be followed through and it's not politically motivated, because that is a big risk that we are facing right now with some of these agencies. It seems like you only go after opposition parties or people that are posed, like they are a supposed threat to the leadership of the current party. We've had arguments on the streets. This is not me saying it now. On the streets, right? What the people are saying is that some of these people that are being persecuted, it is almost like they want to weaken them financially, so that by the time we're getting to the elections in 2027, because you know that Nigeria is largely our politics is largely finance driven, right? So they are saying that, these people want to be weakened financially. This is the allegations. So if you're a government official and you want to counter that, then please, by all means, help us. But the allegation is that they want to be weakened financially so that by the time the elections come in 2027, there will not be some strong opponents, because we are dealing with a politics of who has the biggest money, who has the deepest pockets in Nigeria. That's our reality. All right, so the impact of future leadership. There's also the fear of prosecution that it may deter capable leaders. But I don't believe this, that it may deter capable leaders from seeking public office as evidenced by reports indicating that 58% of potential candidates cite fear of unjust prosecution as a reason for not running. No, I completely disagree with this. Because if you are going into office and you know you're going into office to serve and you're not there to go and embezzle or anything, you have nothing to hide. Because let me tell you something, I keep on saying it. There's something that I have noticed about politics, especially when it is the political season, right? Every politician will dig up any dirt they can find on you, right? It is in their interest to bring out any dirt they can find on you. So I would say it, and this is why, to some extent, right? I appreciated the person of Peter Obi, because that man, based on the momentum he gathered, somebody that does not give out money, does not do all of those things, and he was able to muster that amount of support. If there was something fishy about his administration or anything, maybe embezzlement, it would have come out. There is no way. So I don't agree that it would impact future leaders, because if you are going there to serve, right, your records will be clean, your books will be clean, everything you will be. So you will go in, you will come out unstained. So it is only when you allow yourself, to be sucked into that system, that is when you have something to fear. That's what you have something to fear. I hear that sometimes, yes, I agree, sometimes people are what's it called? They set traps for you and all of that. Kind of like put some booby traps and all of that. But trust me, that's why you should be very intentional. You should be meticulous about anything you're doing when it comes to service in government space, right? So that particular point, I do not agree. I don't agree with that. So political implications. Now, the perception of that prosecutions may be politically motivated complicates public trust in EFCC's action. Former governors often argue that they are victims of political witch hunt, which can undermine the legitimacy of the anti-corruption efforts. I agree. So it is now left for the EFCC to prove us wrong, right? Let EFCC begin to intentionally show us that when they call people or they invite people to their office, right, they are inviting based on facts. They are inviting based on some level of evidence that they have gathered. I mean, we know how investigations are being carried out outside of this climb. Before they will get to that point where they will tell you, come, they've gotten your dossier. They have your file. So there is no escape. They know. It's just like the feds in the US. They have your file. They will collect every evidence. And they can be gathering those evidence for years, right? It is at that point where they have gotten enough. They now say, oh yeah, come, let us have a chat. So if EFCC, these public implications about, some of these prosecutions, if EFCC wants to tell us that they are honest about the fight against corruption in Nigeria, then EFCC is the one that will show us, right? We don't, and listen, your actions are so loud that we cannot hear what you're saying. So EFCC's actions should be so loud that we now see that, yes, truly, they mean exactly what they're saying, that they are fighting corruption. So that one, I would agree 100% that, right? If former governors are shouting witch hunt every time they are invited to the EFCC for prosecution, then there's some level of, because why? EFCC also have not given us any reason to counter that. So EFCC need to be intentional about, giving us that reason. So the deterrence effect. Now, research indicates that visible prosecutions can deter future corruption by as much as 15%, suggesting that holding former governors accountable may have broader implications for governance standards across Nigeria. This I absolutely agree with, right? And this is why I say that, if you've had so many governors and you've had very little prosecutions, then what are we saying? We've had different cases of somebody putting money inside the cab, different things. I mean, there are video evidences and so many things, right? I don't know who has seen the picture that's been going around on TikTok where somebody sat down and there's so much money there. These are things that before, when corruption was happening, it was like hidden, right? But these days, it is bracing, it's in your face, and these things they're not hidden, it's there. So we see it happening. So if truly there is a visible prosecution that happens, and we see that there are convictions, we see that some people are actually made to pay, or everyone is made to pay that is found guilty, of course, it would drastically reduce what's it called, the future corruptions that would happen. So we need to be very intentional about that taking those cases seriously and actually reaching a conclusion. I am very particular about reaching a conclusion quickly, instead of waiting years and everything, just go. Look at that story about the bishop of that resigned, the guy that was molesting children 30 years later. Do you know how much damage that would have done? So I don't like long cases. If there's a problem, we need to fix it, then we need to act on it immediately. So the question whether achievement should deter prosecution remains, of course, a contentious one in Nigeria. Fight against corruption, while legal frameworks emphasizes accountability regardless of past successes, societal prosecutions and individual contributions complicate this narrative. So the ongoing trial of the former governors illustrate the need for transparent judicial processes to maintain public trust and uphold democratic integrity. So as Nigeria continues to grapple with issues of corruption at high levels, ensuring that all individuals are held accountable regardless of their political stature or achievements is essential for fostering a culture of integrity and good governance. The statistics surrounding former governors' alleged misconduct underscore an urgent need for effective enforcement mechanisms that can navigate the complexity inherent in prosecuting powerful political figures. And I must say that let us even put all of these aside that I have said. What is the example that we're setting for our children? Right? Because as it is now, what we are saying without having to say it, we're telling our kids, we're telling our children, we're telling the young people that are coming up that it's okay to steal, that it's okay to be corrupt. It is so sad now that I didn't know what corruption was. I mean, I learned corruption at a later age, what the definition of what it is. But I can tell you that I have teenagers and they know exactly what is going on in Nigeria. And the sad part about all of these things is the fact that because we are now in an age or in an era where everything is out there, it is very, very difficult for us to be able to tell these children that, oh no, if you do the things upright and all of that, because now they are seeing it. I had a conversation with my younger sister yesterday, and I was having a conversation. I think it is important to bring it up here. So I went somewhere, and all of a sudden, because of the transaction I was doing, somebody's attitude just changed all of a sudden. It became a lot more warmer, chummy. Hi, I didn't know you had this money, you know. And this is supposed to be in a professional setting. For the sake of protecting that person, I will just not mention it. But it was a financial institution. And because he saw the transaction that we were doing, all of a sudden his attitude changed. And he was now becoming a lot more nicer to me. He was now becoming a lot more friendlier to me. He wanted to, like you are. I said, oh my God. So I was saying to my sister, because I was on a video call with her whilst this was happening. I said, Ruth, if I had explained this thing, if I had told you that this was what happened to me today, would you have believed me? She said, no, she would have doubted it, that no, it cannot be, I'm exaggerating. Because the switch was so quick. Where am I driving at? We worship money in this country, right? So if we say we want to change anything in this country, we must first of all change our attitude. We worship money in this country. Somebody comes into a place because the person is not driving a big car, the person is probably wearing flip-flops, and the person is just looking all normal and whatever. We don't respect that person. So that's why I told my sister something, I said, that character shows why we will never have Yahoo business or all these internet fraudsters and all of that. They can never stop. Why? Because they have also seen it that all you need to do in Nigeria is just make money. Every other thing will not matter. Do you understand? You just need to go in, find a way to make money. Who is Bobrisky? Who are all these people that we call every time that they are all in our faces, they're in our news? The reason we're talking about them is because somehow they have found a formula to make money. So if we say we want to end corruption, we want to deter prosecution and all of those things, right? First of all, we must be okay. We must normalize it that when your brother becomes a governor tomorrow, you are not asking your brother for money. You are asking your brother to do the job. You're asking your brother to govern. And you're asking your brother to be fair to everybody. For as long as we are in that position where we do not see it, that it is wrong for our own people to steal, then corruption cannot end in this country. For as long as we look at someone that walks into a room and we size the person based on what we think or the perception of how much we think the person is worth before we even talk to the person or we relate to that person, for as long as we continue to do that, people will continue to steal money in this country. So if we want to solve that problem, we want to change that problem, right? That change has to happen and it has to start with us. I don't know what else to say, but I think I have said what is on my mind. I like the idea that I was alone in the studio today because it gave me time to talk. But the truth is, if we really want to change Nigeria, the change that we are seeking in Nigeria is not a physical change. We must be intentional about changing ourselves from within. And that within means that we must be comfortable starving, even though our brother is a governor, our uncle is the president. We must be comfortable. We must start to intentionally respect dignity in labor. People these days, you have a paying job. This person that came to meet me and was doing all those rubbish, he has a job. But you don't value that job. You are looking for free money. So we have to be very intentional. If not, nothing is going to change. Nigeria can only get better as long as the people within Nigeria become better, and their minds are a lot more refined. And that's why we exist at Upgrade TV. We're intentional about mind upgrade. We're intentional about transforming the minds of people. When you transform the mind of a person, you have transformed the life of that person. It's a simple theory. So I'll take some messages. Hopefully, I can find the message. Where's the message? Peter, where's the message? Oh, I'm looking for it. It's not there. Or maybe my network. Can you put it up on the screen so that we can... Unfortunately, my network is networking today. So let me take the message on the screen if you can. All right. So, as I said, if we really want to change Nigeria, that change has to start with us. We need to be very intentional. These days, or not even these days, right from when my kids were very young, I taught them how to intentionally get money but give value in return. Do you understand? People just want free money. What value are you giving in return? That's why, for me, the idea of dashing people money is still very, very is alien to me. I used to think I was weird, but I'm not weird. That is how I'm wired. I would not ask you for money, just give me money. No, I'll tell you instead, I'll say, give me a job. Give me something to do. In exchange, when I do it excellently, you give me money in return. That's how it works, right? So we need to be very intentional about changing our mindset and the way we behave. All right, so I don't know. I'm trying to still find this message. Peter, if you can pull it up. Okay, Grace. Ex-governors' trials should achievements deter prosecution? Absolutely not. If you do the crime, by all means do the time. Lead by example, be transparent, as power is transient. Absolutely, Grace. I agree with you. Thank you so much for your message. Grace, you didn't tell me whether I'm doing well, though. You should have said, oh, you are doing well all by yourself. But yes, absolutely. I agree that, honestly speaking, governors, ex-governors, ex-officials, even presidents, there's no harm in trying him. You understand? I don't understand why we carry these people. They are public servants. I don't know how we are carrying them on our head. If there's... And you don't even need to wait until something is questioned. No. You did 8 years. You understand? How do we tell? For instance, we want to give an award to say, okay, the best president ever, the best governor ever, the whatever. Let us check your record. Let's screen you. Let's be sure that nothing happened. You understand? Then we can now say, okay, with our full chest, we'll give you an award, the best president, the best governor in Nigeria. You know? So I think we need to go, right? On that note, I was talking, I thought we had time, but there's no time. All right, so before we go, ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all the engagement. Please share this link to somebody that you think needs to watch this. We need to change our mindset in this country. Now, let's go back to our quote for the day. It says, the issue of tackling corruption and reducing the cost of governance is simple, as it will start with me and my family members. Remember what I said? It has to be with us. The change must start with us. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Hopefully, I'll have somebody else in the studio with me. But if not, we'll be fine. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy.
Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Ways Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.